Miracy.
Hi, I'm Margaret Lynch Ranieri, and you're listening to Making It. I run a business named after myself, Margaret Lynch Ranieri, and we train world-class coaches to give their clients absolute breakthroughs. From a young age, I was very interested in helping people, but over time, through high school, I was hit over and over and over with the sense of people just don't change. They just don't hear you once they've decided on the inside, I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, I am actually awful, I am ugly, I am stupid, I am never going to make it, I'm never going to amount to anything. No matter how many times you tell them that's not true, it doesn't work. And so instead, when I was in high school, I decided to follow my father and many of my siblings into engineering because engineering is a little bit more black and white. You can learn things, you can make them happen. It's repeatable. You can get results. You can shift, get better results, make it work over and over and over in a way that is clear and doesn't feel like you're just, beating your head against the wall. So, in a way, the spark was in me from a young age to help people, to help them to see the true gifts and beauty that they have. And then I went off in this different direction for many years. For 18 years, I was in corporate and came back around to it, later in that sort of midlife crisis age where we often wake up and go, I don't like what I'm doing. And what if I could find my way back to something that I've always wanted to do, which was really helping people in a very profound, deep, moving way. And so it's sort of a strange little journey, but I think that everything I picked up along the way has really served me in this career. So I found myself sitting in corporate America for many years, having manifested a very cushy situation. And I went from being in an office to getting pregnant at 30 and having that be the impetus to decide that I finally had to get divorced from my terrible marriage of 8 or 9 years. Yes, while pregnant, and creating in my corporate world jobs that I could do it in very few hours per week and eventually from home. I also relocated from where I had been living to a house that was in between two of my sisters on the same street because that was the best way to get support as a single mom. And now I had more community and support literally on my same street. And so there was this slow process of feeling really grateful, but at the same time, I felt dead inside when it came to work. I loved people that I worked with in different jobs, but it just wasn't my passion. I ended up turning on the TV in the middle of a day. I think it was like a Monday, a random Monday at like 10 o'clock in the morning or something. And I turned on public television, and there was Wayne Dyer in The Power of Intention. And my mouth hung open for like the next hour. I just sat there like, what is happening right now? And he's talking about the power of intention and setting your intentions and all of these things that I've never heard of. And then for the next week, I argued out loud with Wayne Dyer walking around my house, but it moved me. It affected me. It opened me in a way that is hard to describe. And so Wayne Dyer changed the course of my life with the power intention. And I didn't know what my intention was. So I did what any good engineer would do. I set my intention to find my intention. And I just paid attention to what started to show up because that's what he said to do next. And the next thing I know, things just started to appear. Someone put a book in my hand on hypnotherapy. That led me to finding tapping or emotional freedom technique. A whole series of events cascaded from that one moment of opening, from wondering, from allowing myself to think, what if I am meant to do something bigger? For me, there were lots of little ups and downs of I made it moments. I have such a funny relationship with those moments where you feel like, or you expect to feel like, I've made it, like I've arrived, I'm here. And so, I want to encourage you to expect this strange mix of the excitement and the exhilaration of charging ahead with the goal to make it. And then these strange sort of plateaus that you hit where you're like, oh my God, like it kind of happened. I'm here. And it's kind of like invisible, like no one in your family can kind of see or process it with you. I try to say, like, I'm on this really big thing, it's on the internet. So I needed to do that for myself. And I needed to do that with the people that I had attracted so far in my community who got it. And it's like a little plateau. And then you move on to the next point. So for me, it feels like you're running up a hill and then you hit a plateau and you almost have to remind yourself and celebrate, like, I'm here. I'm so used to running hard and I'm here. I can take a breath. I need to savor this. I need to let it in because this is a making it point before I gather my strength for the next place that I'm going. If only we just could rest on our laurels for longer, but most success focused people are like, and now I'm going there next. So to me, it's like, those series of the Himalayas, you're climbing, you hit some little plateaus, and then you're going to hit some crashing blows, right? That's what we sign up for when we sign up for self-employment. And then we're on the next, we're ascending the next peak. So I found it really important to make myself sit with my making it moments, a lot of them along the way. And there will still be more. I still don't feel like I'm there yet, but I'm definitely enjoying those moments so much more than I could have back then because it's where I am. I do feel that there is a deeper level to the concept of making it. So now that I'm at this, I'm 55 years old, I've been at this a long time and I can look back at all of those moments of running fast and hitting different points. When I think about inside the internal journey and process or feeling of making it, for me, it's so much more personal. It's going inside and saying, if I just forget about all the things that I'm doing, and I'm standing alone in my bedroom in the morning, right? And I go inside and say, I love what I'm doing. Like, this is my passion. I love what I'm doing. I love who I get to be. Like, I get to have fun being my most Margaret self and bringing that to bear every day in the work that I love. And so there is I think, an internal feeling of every day, this is where I want to be, and that's making it, right? It's like I have the joy of where I want to be. There's ups, there's downs, there's different tasks to do, but I get to spend every day being who I like to be and being surrounded by people that I absolutely freaking love and respect. And I get to serve people who are amazing. I'm blessed to have the best clients in the world, right? The best coaches in the world that I'm honored to get to train and spend time with. And so for me, that inner feeling of making it is that check-in, maybe not every day, maybe it's on a weekly basis of like, God, I get to do this, right? This is my life. It doesn't feel like I'm just doing something to make money. It feels like I am in my passions exactly where I'm supposed to be, and I'm enjoying the hell out of it. I'm Margaret Lynch Ranieri, and you've been listening to Making It. You can find me at www.margaretlynchraneri.com.
Making It is part of the Miracy FM podcast network, which also includes such shows as Course Lab and Once Upon a Business. This episode of Making It was produced by Danny Bermond and Jeff Govertson. Cynthia Lamb is supervising producer. Danny Iny, that's me, is executive producer. Post-production by Post Office Sound. To catch the great episodes that are coming up on Making It, please give us a follow on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you're listening right now. And if you like the show, please leave us a starred review. It's the best way to help us get these ideas to more people. Thank you, and we'll see you next time.